Hey, soldiers, American cities and urban areas are becoming ungovernable, and along with that, uninvestable. Now, what do I mean by uninvestable? Well, buying a house there, locating a business there, might not be the best option. Thinking that you're going to have a job that's secure there, again, might not be the best option. Now, we're going to get into that, and we're going to show you how this slide into dystopia, into, again, a banana republic, is pretty much looking inexorable, okay, unavoidable at this point because of where this country is in terms of leadership across the spectrum. All right. Now, before we get into it, go ahead and subscribe, enlist, become a soldier of finance. All you got to do is hit that subscribe button. Let me know you did it in the comments, and I will salute you. I salute all of the soldiers of finance. Now, everyone watching this video, do me a favor, take a millisecond to hit the thumbs up. I need you to do that so that you will vote to tell YouTube to send this message to other people. Okay? You think this is content others need to hear. Share this with a friend. Now, as I said in the open, we're becoming ungovernable. We are watching as our cities devolve, crime, all kinds of violent crime. We just had an incident here that I read about in the newspaper earlier today, where a young lady was carjacked in a part of Baltimore County. For all of you out there in the world, you might hear about what's going on in Baltimore City. Baltimore City and Baltimore County are two different incorporated entities, okay? Baltimore City is encapsulated within the geography of Baltimore County. Baltimore County has a much tougher prosecutor than Baltimore City has had. Their new prosecutor seems like he might be a breath of fresh air. But we had an incident here in Baltimore County, which is usually not as crazy as Baltimore City. A young woman got carjacked, stuffed in the trunk of her car, and then thrown off of a bridge. Right. Sounds stranger than fiction, but it happened. Baltimore City has been beset with rampaging hordes of Utes down at what's known as the Inner Harbor. Now, this used to be the jewel of Baltimore. I took my wife to a Fogo de Chao, like a Brazilian steakhouse. This was years ago. And this was the last time I set foot in Baltimore City because we had a great dinner, came out and were waiting for the valet to bring the car back around. And there are other people out there waiting as well. And here comes this guy. He's obviously a substance addicted person. And look, I hope you can kick your habit. But guess what? That's not my responsibility to help you with. Okay, here he comes. He weighs much more than me, so I know he's not hungry. Okay, and he's begging people for money. And the people are, listen, I'm from West Baltimore. Okay, and I think I can exude like the force, like Darth Vader has to other folk that came up in the hood. So he's asking these folk that, are not obviously from Baltimore, and they're being real conciliatory and, oh, we don't have any cash, and, oh, God bless you. And I'm just staring at him like, don't come over here. Don't come over here with me, okay, after I just had this nice meal with my wife. And he passes me by, okay, and keeps going. And I get in the car, and I'm like, never again. Never again, because I don't want to be in a situation where, my safety is compromised, the safety of my wife is compromised, my freedom is compromised. So to hell with Baltimore City. There's a place out here called Columbia, filled with restaurants, okay, and free parking. So that was the end of Baltimore City for me. There's no reason for me to go there. Now, a lot of people are making that kind of decision. Baltimore City loses about 1% of its population every 18 months. That's tax base getting up and leaving, okay? Businesses are saying, we're out, okay? Because people aren't coming to dine, people aren't coming to enjoy certain things because Baltimore has a reputation. Now, we got these folks in Chicago actually blaming the corporations for leaving the city.
That we have violence every single day.
Speak the truth.
It is just not on us. It is on the corporate citizens that come into our community and ravage our community. And Wal-Mart, you should be absolutely ashamed of yourselves. You are the reason that our communities lack the investment that they have. We should not have to go out of our communities to find jobs. We should not have to go out of our communities to get medicine.
All right, so no mention of the types of individuals that are causing these corporations to say, okay, we're having inventory stolen, okay? Our employees are not safe. Okay? This is just not working out. This is not why we came here. We came here to, provide a service in exchange for some money, not to have to, spend a lot of our revenue on shrinkage, okay? Not to potentially face lawsuits from employees who were hit upside the head after, working in an environment where people are coming in and thanks to certain laws in certain areas are able to steal whatever the hell they want without any repercussions. Then you have this. A slew of cities are suing Kia and Hyundai for making their vehicles easily stolen. This is not The Onion. This is not the Weekly World News. At the same time, big cities are going light on criminals. Many of them are choosing to instead make an example out of the manufacturers of stolen property. At least 8 cities have filed suit against Kia and Hyundai, seeking unspecified damages over the manufacturer's production of cars lacking common anti-theft technology. The cities include Seattle, Milwaukee, Cleveland, San Diego, and St. Louis. Individuals who bought or leased the cars are also suing the companies. All right, look, I don't take for granted what a car has on it. When I was living in the hood and I had my first little car, or Toyota Tercel, we called it the Terkel, I bought the club, okay? The steering wheel lock. All right, I didn't leave it up to Toyota to figure out where I lived and do something special for me on the anti-theft front. I took it upon myself because cars were stolen in my neighborhood and I managed to keep my car. But this is America 2023 and no one's ever responsible for anything. Big corporations like Kia and Hyundai must be held accountable for endangering our residents and putting profit over people, said St. Louis Mayor Tishara Jones. I'll give you one guess as to what her political ideology is. I believe it's a woman. Tishara sounds like a woman. But again, it's 2023. So who the hell knows? In a suit filed in February, the city of Columbus, Ohio, said the security system for these cars is so substandard that it can be exploited by a middle schooler. And I bet you that the city of Columbus has quite a few middle schoolers who could break into the car and steal it. And they don't see that as a problem. Okay, they see the fact that the car, the inanimate object, that is the issue. At risk are Kias made from 2011 to 2021 and Hyundais built between 2016 and 2021. Because millions of Hyundai and Kia vehicles lack a common anti-theft device called an immobilizer, they can be easily started with a USB cable and a screwdriver. Immobilizers were standard on 96% of U.S. vehicles between 2015, by 2015 rather, but were standard on only 26% of 2015 model year Hyundai and Kia vehicles. So what? All right. So what? Why are the manufacturers being held to a higher standard than the people that are actually going out here and perpetrating the crimes? Thanks to how-to videos circulate on TikTok and other social media platforms, thefts of Hyundais and Kias positively skyrocketed in 2021. But this is, again, the political apparatus in the country, especially in the left-leaning areas, no accountability for criminals. And so what happens is, if you're living in one of these areas and your Walmart says, I'm out, that might mean your job left. Okay, so now you got to travel further if you're going to stay with them, or you got to get a new job. All right. As the tax base decreases, what happens is services are impacted. So police, fire, trash collection, snow shoveling, roads free of potholes, all that stuff. It becomes a snowball effect. And if I were Hyundai, what I'd do is I'd say, you know what? I'm not selling my cars to any people in your city anymore. How about that? And they probably hit him with a discrimination suit then. They hate black people. Even though white people are in the area too and can't buy the cars under my particular solution. Milwaukee saw Hyundai and Kia thefts soar from 895 in 2020 to 6,970 in 2021, with other cities also reporting 8 to 10-fold increases. So what does that tell you? It's not like, okay, let's say me or you. We're walking down the street, and there is a Kia in the model year in question. And we say, you know what? Because it doesn't have the immobilizer, I think I'm going to steal this car. I'm going to do it because I can. I'm going to do it because Kia has not taken the proper measures to secure the car from theft. So I'm going to steal it. No, that's not going to happen. You see these increases because you're seeing increases in property crime. You're seeing increases in certain cities of murder, violent crime. All right. Address the underlying issues, and then you won't have to worry about these certain cars going missing. Scrambling to address the fiasco, both manufacturers distributed steering wheel locks to police departments last year and encouraged them to give them to Kia and Hyundai owners. Now they're implementing a software fix that has to be installed by a dealer. The software upgrade isn't available for all models yet, and for some, it will never become available. Of course, even after the upgrade is installed, your vehicle is still seen as a prime target. What next? You know, people in San Francisco are just busting. People in San Francisco are actually leaving their windows down so that if someone wants to break into the car, they won't have to break the windows. This is the clown world that we exist in 2023. All right, so we've got that. It's just getting out of hand. Every last blue and many of the red, because look, I'm not going to pull punches here. You've got opioid epidemics in some of the red areas. That's what they're struggling with. And their economies in certain areas of West Virginia, for example, have been decimated because of policies at the national level that have moved, you know, coal mining out, and the folk have not transitioned to other types of economies, and it's hit them hard, okay? But one thing we do see in the more conservative areas is a predilection toward actually enforcing the law and not blaming victims, okay, or manufacturers for what is going on. But this is part and parcel. This is what you see when a banana republic starts to rise, and that's what's happening. You see a lack of law and order. Chicago police respond to a large group of teenagers downtown for second night in a row. Now, you've seen the footage, how these teenagers have just been rampaging through certain cities. Baltimore, the mayor of Baltimore is thinking about putting a curfew in effect. Now, I read a story in the Wall Street Journal, or it was some publication that suggested that curfews were racist. Well, here we have a black mayor saying he's going to put a curfew in effect on a black city. Okay, so how does that work? How do you square that circle? And even if you do put a curfew, would you like to go into an area and spend money and try to relax and have a good time in an area where you know that there's a curfew? That presupposes there's a problem. I don't know about you guys, but I like easy living. I like my life to be as uncomplicated as possible. Okay, so I'm not going to go into any area that has a high degree of criminal activity. I'm just not going to do it. I'm not spending my money there. I'm not going to pay taxes there. Okay, I'm not going to patronize businesses there. So we got that going on. And then if you look at the national level, in terms of the slide toward despotism even, as well as a dystopia, you've got the United States of America doing things like weaponizing the FBI, okay, after law-abiding citizens. Remember the people that wanted to challenge the school boards because there was inappropriate material being read or being taught. America's like not even in the top 10, I don't think, of education around the world, but we got time to teach about, you know, all crazy kind of subjects, whatever. At some point, people in the United States will have to realize that their country is descending into a banana republic style of despotism. From the imprisonment of political opponents to the indictment of a former president, all signs point to the United States descending into a tyrannical state that would only be found in the third world. Let's go over it again, guys. Third world is not so much an economic designation as it is a political designation. First world was considered to be the Western democracies. Okay, second world was considered to be the communist countries. Okay, like the Soviet Union, and then third world was Marxist governments, or governments that didn't really fit into either class 1 or class 2. Okay, they had a hybrid of communism going on, which was in many cases much more oppressive than even the Soviet Union. And that is what it looks like. I always say the FBI starting to look like Stasi. Okay, Stasi was the East German secret police. This goes to show that even the most economically prosperous and politically stable societies can descend to such lows. To quote Thomas Jefferson, eternal vigilance is the price of liberty. Sadly, most of us have not been vigilant and thought we could just coast along thinking that our rights will be safe just because America is exceptional. While the U.S. is a special nation due to its respect for individual liberties, free markets, and limited government, and property rights, I might add as well, which are coming into question, it is still a polity filled with humans. We're fallible, of course. When societies don't check the most predatory of individuals who enter politics or who are in society, all types of troubles ensue. So we're not checking these individuals that are preying upon law-abiding citizens. We are not checking adequately the politicians, the business owners, and I'm talking about big corporations, Hollywood, religious institutions. They've started to go pretty much unchallenged, okay, in terms of, doing whatever it is they want to do, all those groups, okay? The U.S. might just be the latest historical chapter of a predictable cycle of civilizational decline. However, these types of declines aren't an inevitability. In fact, when people hit their history books hard enough and start taking action, they can halt this process. And I encourage people to, I know the soldiers of finance are smart people, but yeah, look at history. Look at Venezuela, okay? Look at what happened to Venezuela after it took the trajectory toward socialism. And then compare that to pre-socialism Venezuela, okay? Look at Iran, Afghanistan even. They weren't always like they are today. Now, some might argue that, these religious, the theocracy is a better way to go, but many would argue the opposite, right? Especially when women can't attend school, okay? All right, so that's what's going on out here, guys. Your money is linked to the trajectory of these urban areas, okay? And if you want to continue to pay taxes in a place that doesn't respect you as a law-abiding citizen, doesn't respect you enough to, hey, just allow me to protect myself, allow me to carry a weapon. A lot of cities don't want to do that, okay? They are fine, apparently, with thugs carrying weapons. But when it comes to you being able to protect you and yours, you can't do that. Why would you want to live there, okay? So we're going to continue to see a migration. I've shown you how money walks several times. We're going to continue to see a migration of adjusted gross income from what are traditionally liberal states into red states. And I know a lot of people who call themselves liberals who have packed up stakes and moved to red states because their money is treated better there. They are safer there. All right. And this is indisputable. Okay. Now, sure, you can look at you can drill down and you can say, well, this city in Texas is more dangerous than this city in California. Sure. But in the aggregate, all right, generally, there is a reason why California is losing population and Florida is growing. Okay. People are voting with their wallets. Okay. So look, I want you to check out another example of how we're sliding into despotism and a third world type of environment, because the government is in tight league with the media. We find state mouthpieces, media organizations who carry the water for governments. We find that throughout the third world. And it's no surprise that the CBDC, the most evil thing to come down the pike in a long, long time, the media is carrying the water for the government and trying to tell you it's a good thing. It is not. Watch this video right here. Catch up on more of what the CBD has in store for you and your freedom. Guys, I'll talk to you soon.